Welcome to the Outdoor Realm YouTube channel. I'm Joe, and we're chasing our dream building a homestead on a remote piece of property in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So join us on this next adventure of the UP Project. Well, I am back at the property, and it is really good to be back. As you can see, we got a camper. We brought this in back in December. I think we paid like $750 for it. It smells weird. It's kind of old, and it works. It's a lot easier than setting up a tent. I do like tent camping, but when you got weather like we got right now, this is so much easier to just bring your stuff in, not have to worry about setting anything up, and staying warm is probably going to be a whole lot easier too. Plan for this weekend is I'm going to start trying to dig the hole for the outhouse. We'll see how far we get with that. It's pretty frozen out here, but I got to go get started while I still got some daylight left, and hopefully we can make some progress today. It's a beautiful March day, and there's still a good amount of snow on the ground, but this won't keep me from getting some work done. I actually really enjoy working in this weather. The sun is shining down, it's nice and cool so you don't overheat, and the only sound that can be heard is the wind whispering through the trees. That and the sound of the shovel. The ground is still pretty frozen, and the shovel's having a real hard time getting through there, so I did bring a pickaxe, so I'm going to have to go grab that. Before I can get the pickaxe, I'm going to have to move all these parts that I have for the outhouse. So this outhouse that I'm putting up, I actually built in my garage, and once it was completely built, I disassembled it, loaded it up in my truck, and hauled it up to the property. I believe it was probably the easiest to build the outhouse in a more controlled environment rather than doing it right on the property itself, and I'm really glad I went with that option. And here you can see the outhouse completed in my garage. And you can see all these little trees that are kind of growing up around this spot that I'm digging. And along with trees come little roots. And with the ground being frozen and these roots just kind of being intertwined in there, it's kind of like, the roots are almost like rebar holding together the ground that's frozen like concrete. I'm really glad I brought this pickaxe with me, or it would have taken a very long time to get through this ground with a shovel. Once you get through that top initial frozen layer, things started getting a little bit easier the further down that I was digging. Now I'm finding out that digging is not my favorite chore to do, but it's got to get done, so we're just going to keep hacking away at it. Well, there's the hole, and I'm glad that's done. Now the sides of this hole, I'm going to put running boards, so I got to make sure that
Each side is level, so this is going to take a little bit of work to get the dirt mounted up and packed down as best as I can. I'm going to get one last measurement there and make sure that we're good to go before we start putting this thing together.
That was a close one.
Yeah, I should probably be a little bit more careful. I'm the only one out here, and the nearest paved road is a couple miles away. And trying to get any kind of emergency help back here would be a lot of work for them and probably very expensive for me. So I just gotta slow down a little bit, enjoy the process, and try not to be in too big of a hurry. One nice thing about having built this outhouse in my garage is everything is already pretty much assembled, and we just got to put it together. So all these screw holes, they're all done. All the walls are pretty much completed, and it's kind of just like putting together a IKEA outhouse. Just a matter of pretty much screwing everything together. Nothing really beats working out in the woods like this. It is absolutely beautiful. And the snow covering the trees is like a little winter wonderland. And just knowing that we're putting up this outhouse, that's a huge relief in my mind. But we're just going to tack these corners together for now, just to get everything secured together. And we'll add some more screws to the walls later on after it's all put together to make sure everything's good and secure. This screw hole is just a little bit out of my reach. Time to improvise. Yeah, a ladder probably would have been helpful out here, but I don't have one with me. But I got a plan for that later on. This is the pea shield. It kind of keeps the wood in the front from getting saturated with urine. Kind of an important piece. And this is a lovely purple seat cover that we have. Sandpaper actually works pretty good to sand down rough edges of that foam board. And I just added a couple nails to hold it on there so it can be replaced if needed. I'll have to give credit where credit is due. I didn't come up with the plans for this outhouse in my own head, although I wish I had. I actually got the idea from a YouTube channel called Bush Radical, and he has a very simple way to build an outhouse, and it's really a great design. It's something that just about anybody who has any kind of basic knowledge of how to use tools can build. Now, I've said before that the best way to get experience or learn how to do something is by doing it yourself, and that hasn't changed. I will always believe that. However, I will say it is probably wise to go and try to get some information on whatever it is you're trying to do before you go out and just try doing it. You're probably going to save yourself a lot of headache, somebody out there has probably already done it. Whether it's you're reading a book or you're watching a YouTube video, it just makes sense to get an idea of how to do something, or at least get a compilation of ideas of how you can do something before you just jump in and start doing it. Because yes, doing it yourself is the best way to learn, but getting some ideas from other people who have done that before you, it really isn't a bad idea. So one question that everybody always asks when doing a project is, how much did it cost? Well, for me, this project costs just a little bit over $400. The most expensive parts were the siding and the 6x6 ground contact cedar beams. But these deck boards, the 2x4s and 2x2s, those were all repurposed lumber that I purchased from somebody on Facebook Marketplace, who basically just took apart pallets and was selling the lumber. And these deck boards that I'm using might not last forever, but they'll last a good long while, and I'll replace them whenever they need replacing. But it sure beats whatever I would have paid for lumber at Menards or Home Depot. One thing I did learn from this project is always get more screws than you think you need. I ran out of screws and had to go get more. Should have just bought one of those giant boxes, and then I would have had plenty for this project and some left over for the next. These door props are the ones that I used when I built the outhouse in my garage. So I'm going to use those again, and the screw holes should line up perfectly. Yeah, that worked out real nice. Kind of hard to hang a door by yourself. But if you do it this way, it works pretty good. So that antler you see there that I'm using for the door handle, that's the very first antler shed that I ever found out in the woods. So I found a special purpose to use it for. Well, we're running out of daylight, but the only thing I got left to do is put up these rafters, and then everything will be complete, except for the roof. But I don't have a ladder, and as I mentioned, I got a plan for that, so I'm going to have to do that later. Well, everything's done except for the roof. Got a lot done today. It's a whole lot better than the tent we've been using with a little portable toilet and digging a hole every time. So yeah, this is awesome. Well, I initially was going to stay out here tonight, but I changed my mind. I'm going to head home, and tomorrow I'm going to pack up some more stuff, and then we're going to bring the family down. So I'll see you when we get back.
Nice.
Well, we made it back up by the next evening and got everybody settled in. But before we can go to bed, we gotta get this camper leveled out because it's leaning really bad to one side. So I brought this jack and a bunch of bricks, and we're just gonna stack some bricks underneath the frame of the camper. Now that'll do for now. The other thing I need to get done is I gotta get a ladder so we can put the roof on the outhouse. I don't have a ladder with me, but I do have a couple 2x4s, so we're gonna go ahead and build one. When you're doing projects like this, it really helps to have a creative mindset where you can just look at a problem and think of a creative solution to fix it. Preferably one that doesn't involve spending a ton of money. And I had 3 2x4s that were about 8 foot in length, and they're going to work perfect for building this little ladder. I have a bucket with all the tools that I need that I bring with me every time I go up to the property. So we're just going to use some hand tools and a couple power tools, and we'll just throw this ladder together. We'll give her a test and make sure it's safe to use. Yeah, I think that'll work out just fine. We'll be back at it in the morning. Well, we made it through the night. It got pretty cold last night. It was 5 degrees at 5 o'clock this morning. But anyhow, we're gonna get some breakfast together, and then we got some work to do today.
I want chickens.
Very nice and cozy. Good morning.
Hi. There.
All the way to the top. It's always good having fun with the kids, and I think we all had a good time. But we gotta get back to work, because we gotta get that roof on that outhouse. Another thing I found out while working on this roof is that it's very important that you get your building square, otherwise your roof kind of has trouble lining up like it's supposed to. But that's alright, it's just an outhouse, it doesn't have to be perfect. You got just the finishing touch here, the cover. I'll probably throw some hinges on that at some point. But that's gonna do it. We got the roof on. The outhouse is pretty much done. Another thing I wanted to get started while we were up here this weekend was to get a bunch of trees taken down. Now this chainsaw my dad bought me for my birthday, and I tell you what, it's a great birthday present. These steel saws are great. So huge thanks to my dad for giving me that saw. That really is going to make things a lot easier. It didn't take me long to get myself into a little bit of trouble. I gotta figure out how to get the base of this tree off of the stump. And I quickly figured out that this chain and log method probably wasn't a good idea with all that tension it was creating. So I found a better way. It worked out great. A lot safer too. So I don't know if you noticed, but when that tree initially started falling, it was going to the left, and then it started going to the right. And you can kind of see in the pines behind us that it was a little bit windy that day. Probably not a good day to be cutting down trees. Tell me about your axe.
Me and Daddy helped build it.
And as you bring it up and around, your handle will slide down like that. That's good practice axe for you. You should really wear eye protection when you're doing this too. Now this area that I'm working at right here is pretty much where the cabin is going to be. I have to clear out some of these trees just to make enough room to build a cabin. I don't want to clear out too many. So this view you see here is going to be the view from the porch of the cabin. And I'm going to clear out some of these maples so that we've got some sunlight coming in. I just think it'd be nice to have a little bit of sun shining down on the porch. A couple of these maples are very big mature maples, and they actually took quite a bit of time to cut them down. But this is good lumber, and I'm planning on using this, hopefully, for the cabin. I got at least one more big maple I want to take down, but I gotta wait for the right wind. If there's anything that I'm learning today, it's make sure you're paying real close attention to the wind. There's been a couple times where I thought the wind was in my favor, and then the tree went the other way. That happened to me twice today. I'm not about to tell anybody how to run a chainsaw or cut a tree down, because I am not an expert on that. I am a rookie in training, and that can be extremely dangerous. Some of the stuff I did today probably was not the safest. I made it through another one. Made it through another day. Well, we got a lot done on this trip, and for that we are very thankful. And we'll be back soon to get more work done. Thanks for following along. If you liked this video, be sure to check out our other videos on our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. We hope we'll see you again soon, and remember to gear up, get out, and go find your own outdoor adventure.